So I'm going to go through a very fast introduction of Python so that it kind of statement starts to make sense when we go through rest of the exercises. So if you're looking for help, this is what you would do. And this is also an introduction on Google Colab. Now let me go through the menus before first hand. The one that you want to use is essentially this one is not very useful, but runtime. So this is the one where you would end up using running these cells. This notebook is split into cells. So you see this rectangle that's being highlighted. This is a cell. So there are two kinds of cells. One is code cell and the text cell. This one is a text cell. Now on the top you see the link. If you click that link, it'll go to on the LinkedIn group where you can discuss your problems now or in future, specifically for machine learning. And so by the way the rectangle is laid out, it tells you what a cell is. So I'm going to skip all the text cells, and when you see this play button or the square button without a number, that means that's a code cell. And also it is kind of highlighted in the gray. And so this is your code cell and you would want to run it. And the way you run it, when you hover over this rectangle, you see the play button and you just press it and it's running. So right now it says it's running and you say machine is initialized, is connected, and it gives you the result. So essentially in this Python, what it did, it gave me the help on this number. Essentially it recognized that this is an integer and it's telling me things about integer. So this is how you get help in Python. So that's number one. On this is number two, where it returns the single object, the string. And the third kind of help is where you say the object, it's a function. Len is a function, and you say dot and underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. So this will give you the help on this function available in Python, that it returns the number of items in the container. With that, let's go into the basics. So what is a command in Python? It starts with hash, and the second one is complicated, so I'm going to skip over that. So this is just a command, multi-line command. So what you will see, the output is the last line. Whatever last line returns will be the output of the cell. It's not necessarily when you run it on command line, nothing gets returned, but that's how it is set up in the Jupyter Notebook and Google Colabs. What are numbers? Numbers are just like tickle with a slightly different syntax. There is no set here, and there is equal to, just like C. So you can run this and you will see sample int and sample float here. A string is just like C and tickle, double quote or single quote. Both of them are fine. And the way you add to string is by using plus or plus equal to. So string 1, str1 here, starts with this book, and then it adds the second string on top. So the entire string at the end of this becomes this book is on machine intelligence. And none object, it's a spatial object that I want you to alert. The class, the explanation is not that important, but you need to understand that it creates empty objects without any value. And they are used pretty heavily in Python. So that's that. Typecasting. Typecasting is just like C or C++, where you can convert from one type to another type. Int cast, float cast, and string cast. In this example, you see I'm converting a float to integer, and I'm converting string to float, and I'm also converting float to string. So this is how it works. Display is print. Print is similar to tickle and also has C++ or C-like syntax as well. Arithmetic, similar to C, very similar to C. Nothing important there, nothing new. Comparison operator, just like C and C++. Statements. Statement is more like tickle. There is no, one important thing I forgot is in Python, the spaces are very important. Python does not have, actually it kind of has, but it relies on your spaces to figure out what is the context. For example, the block after if I am equal to me in this colon, you need to have space. If you don't give space, it'll tell you that, oh, something is wrong, I don't understand this. And you can add more lines after this. And I'm going to sort of emphasize this and introduce some problem here. So let's say if I remove these spaces, and let's see what Python will say. It says, oh, indentation error, expected an indentation block. So it figures out the block by looking at the indentation, and there is no complex rules on indentation. As long as there is at least one space character, it will take it as an indentation, as long as you're consistent in the lines after that. So this is very simple, little confusing to the people who are coming from Tickle and C and C++, but once you get used to it, it works okay. Loops are again similar to C and C++, nothing important there. And count to 10. This is a loop in while and for. So it counts up to 10. Controlling loops is essentially break and continue, which is similar to C or C++. There is nothing important there. Data types, list, tuples, and dictionary. Tuples is something new which is specific to Python. You would want to understand what tuple is in Python. And then you have list, which is similar to Tickle list, and the dictionary. Dictionary is similar to your set. And then you have list of words. It's a word list, and that's how you create. On the list, there are functions that are available, and that's how you concatenate and append and sort and remove the words from the Python list. And then you have tuple. Tuple, you would want to understand this in a little more detail than what I've given here. But essentially, this is like a immutable list where it cannot be changed. So that's tuple. And then you have your dictionary. And functions. Functions actually starts with the keyword def. And then you have arg1, arg2. And then rest of that is similar to Tickle. So this block executes the code for function. Slicing, this cannot be emphasized enough. The slicing part is where you take the vector or a matrix or a tensor and take the part of that. And so in this one, I have created a global string. For one-dimensional, it's fairly easy. It starts to get hairy after 3-dimension, where you start talking or linking tensors. But you need to sort of go through that if you are getting into machine learning. I'll tell you a couple of statements here. The first one returns you the first character on the string. The string is defined somewhere. This book is on, no, it's not. Okay, so the book title is Machine Intelligence and Design Automation. So this one takes the first character. The character is M, and the second statement is taking from 0 to 6. It does not include the last one. So it's 7 characters essentially. So in this, you need to realize that the indexing starts with 0 and it stops at 7 and does not include 7. And if you don't give the initial integer, it starts with 0. So colon 20 is 0 to 19. And if you start with another number other than 0, then it starts from there. And if you omit the last one, then it goes till the end. And so with that, I have an exercise at the end where you would do a couple of exercises. We'll give couple of minutes to see if people are able to finish. So the number 1 exercise is what is the output of slicing global str8. What you have to do is to look at this and print it and find out what's the result. And the second one we won't do during the webinar. I'm leaving it on to the participants to finish it later. Essentially, you have to write a Python program to perform element-wise multiplication of two vectors. So that's that.
So let's give them about 2 minutes, and we can continue from there.
Right, and let me take a break.
Yeah, sure.